much. Thank you very much to Sergio, because he also keeps inviting me. And I like to congratulate him that he continued to develop this kind of events, and are not easy to do. It's a lot of work behind them. We come here, we feel good, we chat, but behind this kind of events, it's a whole team which are working very hard days and nights. So good for you and for team. Maybe we could applaud him, yeah? It's okay for you? Okay. Now, I'm going to round up a little bit of discussion beyond regulatory, IT, security, and so on. Definitely there are really important stuff. And you are already using your time dealing with all these kind of subjects, and today there will be a lot of speakers here talking about this, but I want to bring also the business perspective, because this is also important. Why we are doing this? Of course it's compliance, but beyond that, I think PSD2 was one of the few regulatory directives which caused such a business discussion into the market. So from day one, it was beyond how we are going to be compliant. Very quickly, the banks, the fintechs, and so on, try to figure out this is more than some rules to be implemented in the bank systems and so on. There are business opportunities. The banking system is changing. The world won't be the same after we are going to do this. And there was a lot of literature and consultancy companies and the business people and conferences and so on. And we are still talking about this. But here we are very near to be live with PSD2. And the question is, what you found out till today? What the other banks did in Europe? What worked or not? And our experience, Control, which was is still the first multi-bank aggregator, was a way for BRD to find out sooner if there is something else ahead of us, which is valuable, and the customers will embrace, and we could develop further, or it's just a hype, and we are going to be disappointed. Usually the banks and the big organizations are doing business cases, a lot of stuff before implementing the product. The fintechs are not doing this. They are just going fast into the market, making a prototype, and find out sooner on the market, on the customers, if something has value or not. And this is something all the banks or all the big organizations should do more and more. And in BRD, our experience was like that. And I'm going to share with you why we do it, how we do it, and what we found out. I think this is important stuff for the whole people in the room. So why we do it? Because, as I said, it's really important to find out before going to the deadline if there is something there. And we chose an interesting setup. We partnership with McKinsey, and McKinsey helped us not as a consultancy company, but as a development company. Because as we all know, the consultancy companies right now also have resources to implement products, not only talking about how it's going to be the future and so on, making strategies. So we work with their developers for the front end of the app. And we Saltage allowed us or facilitated us through web scraping to interconnect with other banks in Romania. The result was that in 6 months, we succeeded to launch into the market an app which aggregated at that point the accounts or all the products the customers see in their original app into a new front end linked to BRD mobile app. So there were five banks using this data and brought to BRD. Now we have 8 national banks and 1 international bank, which is Société Générale. So I think there are two things we did it before other banks. We already launched a front-end aggregator, but also bring information from outside bank. So this was the setup. We did this in 6 months. What we found out? Well, the simple exposure of data is not good enough. So So I know that there were a lot of business talking about PFM, about account aggregator, about aggregating data, and on a scale from 1 to 10, I believe in the position 9 or 10, as business case in every bank was data aggregator. Now, we are going to bring data from other banks, and the customers are going to see that. It's a strong value proposition, and this will be very good, and we are going to build from here. But the single exposure of data is not good enough. It's important, and you are going to find a niche of customers. And we have thousands of customers using this app, but we don't have like 100,000 customers. And when we are working in retail, we always look for the big numbers. Yeah, we are looking for viral products. We are looking for hundreds of thousands of customers, or we're looking about behavior change and so on. So the second thing we found out is that you have to build on it. It's important to do this because this is the first step, but it's not good enough. You have to bring more value for the customer. And if you look at other examples like Yolt in UK, which right now we consider it like a classic example, but they launched in 2016. Now they are also in France and Italy. They have 500,000 customers. They started as an aggregator, API, and web scraping. They are both technologies, depending on the banks. And right now they integrate with fintechs to bring into the app also products like wealth, like pension funds, like insurance, like electricity bills, and so on. So they keep build up content there and looking for engagement. So this is our second finding into this experiment, let's say, or prototype. It's not an end date. It's not a product in itself, just exposing data. I think we all know that open banking is basically or mainly about data. Banks already have a lot of data. Having more data, not changing anything else, won't bring you too good or too much on this value proposition, because you need to also fix the basics. And the basics is, or the basics are, what is your computation power inside your company in using that data? What is the BI? What is your business intelligence in bringing that data or already having that data and returning back to the customer with something valuable for him? It could be an advice, it could be another business context, would be another, I don't know, product or service. So open banking, considering our experience in control, it's a good thing to interconnect with the outer world. But at the same time, you have to fix your basics. You have to fix your way you are managing data, your architecture, which should be based on API and microservices, and beyond that, the business people on the front end still should figure out which will be the business cases. So the pressure won't go away from the business people, just putting data there or making payments easier and so on. So they are going to be also in the future in order to understand how it's going to do that. Our third finding in this use case, open banking is kind of network. It's not a product in itself. It's not I don't know, a list of use cases, and you should spend a lot of time in meetings and try to choose what role I'm going to play as a bank. I'm going to be aggregator or distributor player, or I'll have a marketplace and orchestrate things and things like this, or what kind of use case, and what I'm going to do first and then what I'm going to do second. I know that is happening in a lot of organizations because I've done a lot of this job myself, months or more than a year. But the thing is that if it's a network, and that's why we're talking about security, roles, about compliance, about the rules of the game of engagement, you can't have the full image of the network right now. So don't look for it. It's very important, yeah? Don't try to figure out the whole business game right now, because you have no clue. You don't know. It's like being 20 years ago or 40 years ago when we started the web, and the founders of the web where like I'm going to invent the web, and after 20 years, they're going to be Amazon or Google. They have no idea about that. Or it's about the founder of the mobile phone and saying, I'm going to invent the GSM and the mobile phone, and these objects are going to dramatically change your lives. They have no idea about that. What we can do is to start the first steps, the first use cases, the first steps to connect with the outer world, either if you bring more information into the organization and strengthen your core banking, or even if you create value and you go outside the organization and expose your products on websites, on fintechs, on platforms, because that's the place, or these are the places where your customers are every day. So you are just a way, it's just a way to explore the future, step by step, testing, making pilots, and learning. And the last thing, talking about open banking as a network, it's natural to be partners. There is no network with only competition, with fighting. I don't know any kind of ecosystem which exists and develop enough, I don't know, in adversity, in hiding, in being passive. If you want to build an ecosystem, and this is an ecosystem like the web, you have to partner with the others. We have to learn to share things. You have to accept that the banks are going to share the front end and the primary relationship with the customers. That's a fact. We are already doing this. Even if we are talking about Revolut, about Apple Pay, about Amazon, about PayPal, and so on. We are already doing this. The question is, what kind of business philosophy you have in this environment? Are you going to be an active player? Are you going to create value? Are you going to bring more and more in this web and allow your customers to feel comfortable and safe, of course, but also having a flawless experience? Or you are just going to be passive, not participating to this? So this is a choice for every player. Thank you very much.